All right, just gonna do a super quick rundown of what I think the market looks like at the on Monday morning. So this is the 4 hour chart. Let me actually go to the daily to start with. So on the daily chart, just looking at how bullish we've been, not going to say that it's not going to continue bullish. We still have some buy side liquidity that needs to be taken out. That looks like that's where we're heading. We do have a lot of liquidity lying under here. This, wonderful breaker block right here with some fair value gaps situated with it is a pretty good spot for a pullback. If we were wanting to pull back, this could possibly look like one on the weekly, which is also situated right there at those fair value gaps. So looks to be a pretty important little area right in there where the market could see kind of a pullback to over time and then work its way up. Now, not saying that's going to happen, just saying that that's a good area to kind of keep your eyes on if this does shift to the bear side this week. And if it does, then that's where I would probably turn my attention later in the week. Also, let me. So we have some buy side liquidity at the top of Friday's candle here. We've got this mean threshold, which is actually on the 4 hour chart. No. It's the consequent encroachment of that wick. That's not what I'm looking at. I think I pulled that on the 4 hour chart. When I pull the 4 hour chart back up, that's probably going to be this mean threshold of this order block right here is going to be on the 4 hour chart. And then buy side liquidity situated way up here. If we stay bullish, these are the areas in which I'm going to be looking at for price to get to. We've got some buy side liquidity to look for, on the daily or tomorrow, could be the high here. If we continue bullish, then these are going to be the next targets. If not, and we just sweep those highs right there of liquidity and decide to turn south, then I've got the consequent encroachment. Let me zoom in on that. Consequent encroachment of this wick right here would be a low in which I could see the market getting to. Sell side of Friday's candle. The low of Friday's candle would be sell side liquidity. Of course, you got resting liquidity there and here, and then that important area down here, in which I've already pointed out. So let's go to a 4 minute chart real quick. News this week. We do have news. Empire State Manufacturing coming out today. Tomorrow is going to be really nothing on the U.S. side. We do have some British and Canadian news that will come out tomorrow, but really no U.S. news on Tuesday. So it'll be pretty quiet. Wednesday, unemployment claims, Philly Fed, manufacturing. We've got Waller speaking, which is FOMC member, and then existing home sales. So Thursday is a day in which could be pretty busy. Tuesday and Wednesday, absolutely nothing. And then Friday is flash PMI. So PMI on Friday with a lot of PMI news across the world, the kind of global PMI news. We've got Euro and Pound manufacturing PMI. So some news this week. Tuesday and Wednesday seems to be pretty quiet for the most part. CPI for the pound, that might give the dollar a bump or hurt the dollar depending on which way you're looking at it. So I actually expect the pound to be a pretty solid play this week. But we'll look at it. I know Josh put a picture out on the general chat where it absolutely, tapped the I think it was a mean threshold or consequent encroachment line. That was perfect. Or like the weekly. I think it was the weekly. I don't know. I have to look at it. But it was a pretty solid touch and then reverse from. So we'll have to see where it goes from there. But let's jump down to the 4 hour chart. So just to be able to zoom in, you can see this right here. We got like this little curve happening there. So a lot of resting liquidity. This is that area of importance that I was telling you about. This beautiful order block situated right there that we could definitely see price wanting to touch back into. So if we turn bearish, this would be the areas in which I'm looking at. This is the monthly line, which started right here a few weeks ago. We've got sell side from Friday, and then earlier in the week last week, we've got all this sell side liquidity resting below there. But if we start breaking down through the monthly, this is where I think we're headed. So if we decide to stay bullish, buy side here, this is that mean threshold that I was talking about, plus buy side liquidity up there. So we do have targets that we can definitely put to use. We've also got the Monday range, which has not completely set yet, so you can't really go by the highs and the lows of it. But the median, once we tap through the highs and create a new one and it starts working its way back down, then the median could be a target, something to look for as the day progresses. Let's jump into, let me see, is this, yeah, mean threshold on the 4 hour. That's what that is right there. This candle right here that created this high, which then started this downturn, and that looks like what we're trying to get back to, which is right there. So where you should keep your eyes is 4 hour mean threshold if we stay bullish. All right, dropping into the hourly, getting a little bit closer. As you can see overnight right in here, this is a pretty decent little dealing range from Friday. So we had this pop up, taking out all that liquidity there, and then a massive sell off. So, and then we started to work our way back through. We pull a fib on that. We're probably going to see the 70 being touched. Yeah, right in here. So the 70 being touched, where we started, we come back, we kind of consolidated right here overnight Sunday, Asia, CBDR zone, and then I'm sure that's 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. right there as you start to see that little peak out during London, and then the sell off, taking out all that liquidity, jumping down into here. So it looks like we're pulling back into the median right now. If we break through that and continue up, we're probably going to create new highs and look for that buy side. If for some reason we stall back out and just tap, then we could start seeing sell side. So be patient. Running in a market open. Let's go to a 15-minute chart so we can get in on this price action right here. Created these relative equal lows right here. As you can see, we swept that liquidity below before running the highs and then slamming down. And with this 15-minute chart, you can see that straight line right there. It's a pretty straight line with that price action. And then now price is starting to work its way up. Looks like we have a break of structure right there. So this could have easily been a pretty good trade opportunity somewhere in there. It looks like we're getting up to the median where this wick is and back to the 70%, or no, the 62. We are in the premium of this dealing range. If we're using this as a dealing range, we are in the premium. So, shorts would probably be viable, but being the beginning of the week, we do have news coming out in about an hour, 15 minutes. So just be patient, wait for that news to come out and see which way the market decides it's going to continue. Let's jump into a 3-minute chart. There's your break of structure. Nice little push up, pull back into this structure. You could have went long right there. There has not been a return into a fair value gap to kind of go long right there, but still could have jumped on board after that break of structure and that pullback. That would have been a pretty good opportunity to jump in to take it back to the median. So, and again, liquidity resting above it. If we can get above this wick, then we're going to come for all of that. So the daily, weekly right there where we opened up will probably be coming into sights this morning, depending on news. All right. So that's kind of my ES look. Let's jump back out to the 4 hour and look at the NQ, see what it looks like compared to the ES. So NQ obviously has been stronger. Let's actually go to the daily. NQ has been stronger. We need to look at this. Yeah, the NQ has been stronger. We do have some buy side liquidity that's kind of in the sights that we could definitely look for if we continue to go strong. We have created some lower lows here, whereas the ES was creating some higher highs, even though the NQ is definitely higher. We could be looking for this buy side this morning. If we push through that and hold it, then we're coming for this buy side. If we don't equal high, we could be coming down here because we have reason for it. This is a good little area to look for. Maybe this wick right here, this little structure below it, right in there. If we do turn bearish, that might be the area to look for. If not, below it, we've got some nice resting liquidity down there. Because the NQ has pulled a little bit further to the high side than the ES has, so this could have potential for more of a drop. So I would definitely keep my eyes on those areas. Looking at the Dow, yeah, we've got, let me go to this one. Pretty much similar situation as the ES, buy side liquidity. Right here is the early buy side liquidity. We probably have consequent encroachment we need to be looking for on this wick. And that would be the area, if we start taking out that would be the area in which I would like to see us go to. We do have liquidity above that. So if we do break through that, then we'll look for that buy side up and through here. We got a nice order block right there. This is almost maybe a little bit higher than that consequent encroachment. So we could wick into that mean threshold right there. If we get above that, that mean threshold is what I would be looking for. Buy side liquidity above it. And that would be things that I would look for if I'm planning on, if I'm looking for a reversal in the ES, then if we're all bullish, I'm looking for that higher area where we could see a turnaround to play it short. But we got a nice breaker right here with all that liquidity situated right there in the fair value gaps. This nice balanced price range in line with it as well. So if we decide we're not going to go up into here and we turn bearish, this is where I'd be looking for on the Dow. All right. Let's look at the dollar. The dollar has been falling for a little while now. So we're looking at the 4-hour chart. Let me clean some of this up and just give me a clear chart. I'll get rid of that. Get rid of that one as well. All right. All right. So looking at a pretty clean chart coming in. Let's go to the daily first. We've gotten down here to sell side. Looks like we've swept this sell side liquidity here by just ticks. Oh, yeah. Barely swept that, made this pull back in. Looks like we're situated around this breaker. So let's see if this breaker becomes important. It looks like we're rejecting it right now. If we do reject that, then I would expect obviously some lower lows there. And then looking left, right in this area here, we could see price stalling out. It's a nice little order block situated with that wick. So this mean threshold consequent encroachment could be a price in which we were looking for. That would get us below the 100 mark of the dollar. That would be pretty significant. We get below that, then we're going to seek out this liquidity down in here. So the euro is going to maintain some strength because I think the numbers today, the manufacturing numbers and stuff like that, obviously we got Lagarde speaking. So we'll have to pay attention to those numbers tomorrow. German economic sentiment might give a push to the dollar in either direction, depending on if it's good or bad. But the fact that we've barely swept these lows here, we've come back into this area, this order block. We'll see if it needs to come back up here to this liquidity. As you can see how straight that line is. All right, it's just too perfect. So obviously we've got resting liquidity above it. So if we do push through here, I mean, this is an order block as well. If we do push through that, then we're going to come all the way back up in here and grab some liquidity. We got fair value gaps up above that. This right here on a weekly is probably an order block or a breaker block. So we could seek that. If for some reason we get rejected in this area, then lower lows we are, and that number right here is going to become very, very important. So keep an eye on that. Even if we do reject and go lower, we've got this number. I'm actually going to put a line on that number. I'll straighten it out. I'm just going to make it red so it stands out to me. And then coordinates. There, right there. So super important number. If we do break bearish and here we could wick down into it, this could be a turning point to where we could see some bullishness out of the dollar, which would probably just be temporary, a lot like this move. So anyways, that's kind of my view on the day. So hopefully this kind of helps and gives you some insight into what I'm looking at and what could possibly be happening with the markets today. So see you on Discord.